Shalom, shalom, shalom. Israel, give no praise to Yahweh, Bashemel, Shabashim, Chakadaz, the bonus of the apostles, elders, James, Ruel. Salutation to you, Akim, out there, pushing his word and truth and sincerity, risking your freedom and your life to do so more so now than ever before, for we are close to the end. He's going to make a quick video, man. Esau's perpetual hatred. I'm going to play a video on Instagram. And get into it.
Black couples who have a minimum earning of $250,000 got together and decided that they were going to build their own community. So they purchased land in Indian Head, Maryland, and they got together and they started building. Only for 5 people, one of whom is a firefighter in Indian Head, Maryland, to come in there and burn down every last one of those houses. This happened in 2005 in Maryland. They called it one of the worst arsons in the state of Maryland. And the firefighter, when caught, admitted that yes, they did it because they didn't want a bunch of fucking blacks moving in there. They did that, and they admitted this. This was in 2005. Okay. Hello, friends. How you doing?
We don't mind a watch.
You want me to buy you a watch?
What is?
Look, he has a watch.
But I don't have none.
But you have glasses. Oh, sorry, I finished this. Yeah, so the people who made everything about race are the same people that come up every day and say, why do you like to make everything about race? Because with you guys, everything is about that. Everything is about it. And you just like to gaslight people. But yeah, as far as I know, the most recent attempt for black people to build a self-sustaining community was in 2005, and 5 white people, including a firefighter, went in there and burnt down over 30 homes. And for some reason, I believe after I don't know if it was abandoned or not, but look it up. Maybe they continued, I don't know, but I do know that was the last attempt.
Yeah, it's nothing new under the sun. Yeah, man. There's nothing new under the sun, man. Esau always had a perpetual hatred. Perpetual means ongoing, forever. Never-ending hatred. So that's how we know he's a top opposition against the children of Israel, you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Now, he said this event happened in 2005, but if you look at what's going on, man, the whole Carmelo situation. All these races, put us in jail wrongfully. We can't even have the right to defend ourselves. That goes into the deep hatred that Esau, Edom, the so-called white man in particular, has for Jake, starting with the head tribe Judah, the so-called American blacks, all right, American Negroes. You know what I mean? But the judgment is coming for that. Ezekiel 35, and I start at 1. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it. Mount Seir is also synonymous with Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. How do we know that's a so-called white man? Because, for the longest time, they go by Caucasian. And what does Caucasian mean? Cave dweller. Because at one point, they used to live in the caves, It's so good. It's so simple. A caveman could do it. That was their heritage before they discovered fire, razors to shave their back and their facial hair to have a smooth face and stuff like that. They used to live in the caves. And it says, and say unto them, thus saith the Lord, power, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. Right, the Heavenly Father is going to stretch out his hands against so-called white man, Esau, Edom, and punish him. And it's going to get into it. And I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord. All caps means Yahweh, the Most High himself, Verse 5, it said, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, and the time of the iniquity had an end, right? All throughout history, Esau has always slaughtered us. shed our blood, man. This is not just talking about most recent slavery when we came to the shores of America. Go back on, when we were pursued, I believe, by the Babylonians, and they said race it, meaning like erase us, completely destroy our nation. So Esau Edom has always had this hatred. All right, it wasn't just Jim Crow, it wasn't just slavery era. It's been around for a long, long time. All right. He said when their iniquity had an end, right, man, because the Most High ultimately was punishing us, and that's why we was going through. That's why we still going through what we going through. It's a punishment, but the Most High about to redeem us. All right, slowly but surely, He will redeem us. Verse 6, therefore, as I live, saith the Lord, power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee, right? Because you didn't hate blood, blood is going to pursue you, all right? Since you acquit the wicked, and you punish the innocent, and you shed blood, and you don't think about it, and think that the Most High is with you. No, He said, because you didn't hate blood, they hate to spill blood, the Most High is going to, blood shall pursue you, all right? That's why I make Mount Seir most desolate, and will cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with slain men, and in thy hills, and in thy valleys, and in thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword. Right, because you ain't hate blood. So, these wars that's brewing up, all right, civil wars, actual wars that's taking place, that's to prepare Esau for slaughter. And ultimately, when Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you true biblical Israelites, get into power, we're going to put that sword on you, all right? That saith the Bible, that saith the Lord. You see? Verse 9, and I will make thee perpetual desolations, and thy cities shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. Right? So, you're going to know He's the Lord. All right? So this is Tulsa, okay, which is Oklahoma. Burning black cities, it says, the Tulsa race massacre occurred on May 31st through June 1st, 1921, when a white mob attacked the affluent Greenwood district in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Often referred to as Black Wall Street, the neighborhood was bombed from the air and burned to the ground, leaving up to 300 dead and 10,000 residents homeless. Right, and the reason why it was bombed from the air is because you had the U.S. military that declared war on so-called black men and women that lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Why? Because they was booming. They was starting to gain economic traction. And Esau's perpetual hatred didn't like that. So they teamed up, the U.S. government teamed up with white residents to bomb this neighborhood, and they blamed it on, I think, a rape of a white woman. So it says the widespread destruction and loss of life stands as one of the worst incidents of racial violence in U.S. history. See, that perpetual hatred, because what the hell did we do? What did our people do? They just got up out of slavery, and they started to develop and build, and this is what you do. They hate us, all right? This is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Esau Edom will always have a hatred towards Jacob. Why? Because he lost the blessing. He doesn't even know why he hates us. So it says the trigger. Tensions begin after a young black man, Dick Rowland, was accused of assaulting a white woman in an elevator. Following sensationalized newspaper headlines, a lynch mob formed outside the Tulsa courthouse. Armed black men, many of whom were World War I veterans, went to protect Rowland, leading to a violent confrontation. And that was the reason why the U.S. military got involved, is because you had soldiers that fought in World War I. These are veterans that knew how to use a weapon, and they tried to defend that brother. So the U.S. military jumped in to help his so-called white Edomite counterparts. And this is what happened. They killed the soldiers, left 300 dead and 10,000 people homeless. And it says, look, they attacked white rioters, some of whom were deputized and armed by city officials, invaded Greenland. The mob looted, shot residents, and used incendiary bombs dropped from airplanes to destroy homes and businesses. So it says the aftermath, 35 city blocks were reduced to smoke ruins. No one was ever prosecuted for the violence, and for the decades of devastation was largely suppressed from public historical records, right? Because they don't want you to know about this. And if you go into the history, the reason why this happened is because I believe it was white people in Wall Street, actual Wall Street, that found out Tulsa, Oklahoma was a booming economy, and they needed to borrow some money. You can look up this history, and they called Tulsa, Oklahoma, and found out that the residents that it was getting money from were black people, and they hated them. Let's see, what was the real reason this happened? Let me see if it's gonna bring it out. Yeah, all right. So it says it happened a volatile mix of deep-seated white supremacy, intense economic jealousy, and media-fueled racial hostility. So it says, yep, economic resentment and jealousy. I'm not sure what it's going to say, but let's see. Thriving black wealth. Due to strict segregation laws, Tulsa African-American community was forced to consolidate its resources within the Greenwood district. They built a highly successful, self-sustained economy filled with black-owned luxury hotels, banks, theaters, and mansions. This immense prosperity, famously dubbed Black Wall Street, deeply angered many white residents. A post-World War I economic downturn in northeast Oklahoma left many working-class white men unemployed. And not to mention, so-called black men and women weren't allowed to have money in the banks. So when these banks collapsed and stuff like that, they lost their money. But black people didn't have their money in the banks. So they were able to build, and they tried to make Jake seem like they were stupid. No, Jake was thriving. Jake came out of slavery not really know how to speak. Was illiterate, know how to read or write, and they built prosperous banks, hotels, because they was in all type of construction, all type of labor, skilled labor in slavery. And it says they resented seeing black entrepreneurs and families achieving significant financial success while they struggled. And it says the rise of resurgent white supremacy, Ku Klux Klan, the years leading up to the 1921 saw a massive national and local resurgence. Ku Klux Klan, fueled heavily by the popularity of white supremacists, fueled birth of a nation. Social hierarchy. White supremacist ideology dictated that black Americans should remain subservient. The independence, political voice, and the wealth of the Greenwood residents directly challenged the Jim Crow social order. It says World War I veterans. Many black men in Greenwood were recently returned World War I veterans. Having fought for democracy abroad, they refused to tolerate lawless, vigilant violence at home. Whatever. And it doesn't really go into like how it actually happened, but you can do the history. So, because Esau's violence, the Most High is going to cut you off, Esau. You're going to pay, man. Obadiah, verse 10, it said, for that violence against thy brother Jacob, shame should cover thee, and thou should be cut off forever. Right, it's going to come a time when we get power to put our foot on your neck, Esau. After 1,000 years in the kingdom, you're going to be wiped out. Guaranteed. That's it. I'm going to keep it short. With that, I'm going to give up praise to Yahweh Shemel Shabbat Shem Kakadas. The one said Apostle Elder Jemus, that rule I'll say take you. I'll get to next time. Shalom.